Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. The recent events in Port Charles have felt like a dark storm cloud rolling over the town, and I have been sitting on the absolute edge of my seat. When I watched Nina lay out her deepest fears, I felt a genuine chill go right down to my bones. Nina's been through the ringer over the years, facing more heartbreak than any woman should have to bear. So, when a mother like her feels a storm coming, you better believe it is time to board up the windows. She looked at Willow with such deep maternal worry, completely terrified that this bitter feud with Michael is going to end in absolute disaster. Nina warned her daughter that if she did not find a way to make peace, something truly tragic was bound to happen. Hearing her express that warning felt like a heavy omen wrapped up in a mother's desperate plea. It breaks my heart into a million pieces to see how much Willow has changed lately. I remember clearly when she was the sweetest soul in Port Charles, always putting everyone else first, gentle as a warm summer breeze. But now, it is as if she has built a thick, icy wall around her heart. During that uncomfortable exchange with Nina, Willow was so stubborn, standing her ground like a mule stuck in a mud puddle. She honestly believes she holds all the winning cards in this messy game she is playing with Michael. She thinks she is the one steering the ship, completely blind to the jagged rocks waiting just beneath the water's surface to tear everything apart. Willow's attitude about those precious children just ties my stomach in knots. She tried to reassure Nina that she would never keep the little ones away from Michael entirely, but she made it as clear as a summer sky that any visits would happen strictly on her terms. It is deeply painful to watch a family splinter like this, using innocent babies as bargaining chips in a war of egos. You can easily see the pride blinding Willow right now. She actually thinks she has Michael backed into a tight corner, forced to dance to her tune if he ever wants to see his family whole again. But as the good book says, pride always comes before the fall, and our dear Willow is standing on a very dangerous precipice. What Willow simply does not realize, and what makes this entire situation feel like a ticking time bomb, is that Michael is not just sitting around feeling sorry for himself. Oh no, he is quietly gathering his ammunition, and let me tell you, it is a doozy of a secret. Thanks to our sharp-eyed Trina Robinson and the ever-watchful Kai Taylor, Michael now possesses the ultimate weapon to turn the tables. They managed to piece together the complicated puzzle of that mysterious ringtone, bringing the undeniable truth right to Michael's doorstep. They confirmed the awful reality that Willow is the one who actually pulled the trigger and shot poor Drew Kane. Just let that heavy truth sink into your spirit for a moment. The woman Michael loved, the mother of his children, is the person responsible for nearly taking Drew's life in cold blood. When I think about Michael holding on to that explosive secret, I can almost feel the ground shaking beneath my feet. Michael has that fierce Corinthos blood running deep in his veins, and while he can be patient, his wrath is terrible when it breaks loose. He is holding this dark secret like a lit match over a powder keg, waiting for the right moment to blow Willow's grand illusion of control into a million irreparable pieces. Nina's heartbreaking warning about a looming tragedy feels terrifying because we are watching two unstoppable forces hurtling toward each other at breakneck speed. Willow is digging her heels in deeper by the minute, blinded by her arrogance and false sense of security, while Michael is quietly armed with a truth so destructive it could send her straight to a cold prison cell. When Michael finally decides to use this devastating information to confront his ex-wife, the emotional fallout is going to be catastrophic. I am genuinely terrified that this bitter battle of wills is going to spiral out of control so fast that neither of them will be able to stop the terrible collateral damage. And that brings me to the absolute most gut-wrenching part of Nina's dark premonition. When she expressed her deep fear that something truly tragic might happen, my mind immediately raced to the absolute worst-case scenarios imaginable. Could this bitter, toxic war end up putting one of those precious, innocent children in harm's way? Or could Willow or Michael find themselves in a sudden, life-threatening situation that changes their lives forever? In the world of soap operas, when a family feuds with this level of intense, fiery hatred, the universe always has a way of stepping in with a cruel, unexpected twist of fate, often punishing the characters in ways they never, ever could have imagined in their wildest dreams. But there is another fascinating wild card in this dangerous deck, and his name is Jack Brennan. I have to confess, I have grown so incredibly fond of Brennan lately, especially seeing how he has stepped up to become such a solid, comforting rock for Nina. They have been strategizing together, growing closer day by day, and I was genuinely and sincerely hoping to see a sweet, beautiful romance bloom for Nina after all her past heartaches and tears. Bless her heart, she truly deserves a good, loyal man in her corner for once. But the dark whispers and ominous clues floating around town strongly suggest that Brennan might actually be the one who pays the ultimate devastating price in this chaotic, messy war between Willow and Michael. Just imagine the horrific, heartbreaking irony if Willow, in a wild, desperate attempt to strike out at Michael or to protect her dark, terrible secret about shooting Drew, somehow accidentally catches dear Brennan in the crossfire. It honestly makes my heart ache and my eyes well up just thinking about it. Brennan could simply end up being in the wrong place at the absolute wrong time, maybe trying to help out Nina or untangle this massive web of lies, only to meet a grim, fatal end. If Willow's reckless, out-of-control actions directly lead to Brennan's untimely death, it would fulfill Nina's tragic prophecy in the absolute most devastating, soul-crushing way possible. The ripple effects of such a senseless tragedy would completely tear the town of Port Charles apart. If Brennan were to lose his life this coming fall, Nina would be utterly shattered beyond repair. Just as she finally starts to open her fragile heart and trust someone new, the universe would violently snatch that sliver of happiness right away from her. The immense guilt that would fall squarely onto Willow's shoulders would be crushing. It is one thing to be angry in a nasty custody battle, but to have actual blood on your hands, especially the blood of a man who meant so much to your own grieving mother, is a heavy burden that no soul can easily bear. We also cannot forget the original terrible sin that started this terrifying downward spiral, the shocking shooting of Drew Kane. Drew has been through so much unimaginable trauma, fighting with every ounce of his strength just to get his mobility back, and the horrifying fact that Willow coldly put him in that hospital bed is a massive secret that cannot stay buried. Kai Taylor has been walking around terrified that Willow might try to silence Drew permanently, and now that Michael knows the undeniable truth about the ringtone, Willow's sheer panic is only going to multiply tenfold. And as we all know too well, a desperate person is a highly dangerous person. When a woman feels completely cornered, especially a mother who truly thinks she is rapidly losing her tight grip on her children and her precious freedom, she is capable of doing some truly unspeakable, horrifying things. I look at Willow's face now on my television screen, and I simply do not see the sweet, caring school teacher we all first met and loved. I see a frantic woman teetering dangerously on the very edge of total madness. If Michael threatens to take those beautiful kids away and expose her to the world as an attempted murderer, Willow might completely and totally snap. That is the exact terrifying moment where the awful tragedy Nina predicted will strike like a violent bolt of lightning, leaving nothing but sorrow and ashes in its wake. Watching this intense storyline unfold is exactly like watching a pot of water boil over on a hot stove. You know it is going to make a terrible mess, but you just cannot bring yourself to look away. The brilliant writers have done a phenomenal job weaving all these complicated threads together into one thrilling tapestry. Trina and Kai's shocking discovery of the ringtone was a clever touch, bringing the bright younger generation right into the dark heart of this mystery. It makes the whole world of Port Charles feel deeply connected, a place where one overlooked detail can completely unravel a prominent family's existence in the blink of an eye. As we head into the crisp autumn months, I am bracing myself for the immense heartbreak that I know is coming our way. I am holding out a small sliver of hope that somehow the innocent folks will be spared from the fallout. But in this dramatic town, tragedy is very often the steep price you pay for keeping dark secrets. I will be watching every upcoming episode, completely glued to my screen, praying hard for Nina's fragile heart and dreading the explosive moment Michael drops that truth bomb on Willow. We are in for a remarkably bumpy ride, my dear friends, and I am so glad that we are taking this journey together.